It's another edition of Boozing with Jude. Again, a special edition. We're celebrating sort of an anniversary. So January 16th is the date in 1920 that Prohibition was instituted. And so Prohibition, what that means for those of you who aren't American is basically so many states ratified this law that said, you're in America, no more alcohol for you, bummer. Yeah, really. People actually voted and said, we don't want to sell it, we don't want to drink it, we don't want to see it. What was wrong with people? Come on. Well, you don't actually think that alcohol just like disappeared from the United States of America, because, it didn't. So what grew up at that point, 1920 to 1933, were things called speakeasies. And speakeasies were basically not very legal places where you could go in and get alcohol. So I'm going to make a drink today, and I'm going to thank my friend Laura, who sent me this article on this drink, and it's called the Mary Pickford, right? The Pickford cocktail. So Mary Pickford, you might know who she is, or was, I should say. So Mary Pickford was probably the wealthiest woman in America in the 1920s. She was America's darling. She was a major motion picture actress, and back then films were silent, so she was the premier silent female film actress, and her husband was Douglas Fairbanks, and they owned a place called Pickford. Yeah, like they were pretty wealthy. They hung out with Charlie Chaplin, and it was during this time of Prohibition, and so this drink was named after her. Now, rumor has it, and we find that this isn't really true, like in a lot of things, that when Prohibition happened, a lot of this part's true. A lot of kind of really well-known bartenders, people who like made their living off of making cocktails, fled. You can't make a living in the United States out of a speakeasy if you're trying to hide from the cops all the time. So like Harry Craddock took off and he went to London, right? And so he was at the American bar at the Savoy, right? And these two guys headed for Havana. I don't remember their names. You know what? You gotta Google it. But supposedly one of the other of these guys created this cocktail and named it after Mary Pickford. And the rumor has it, this is the rumor part, that she and Douglas Fairbanks were in Havana, in filming and, during Prohibition, and they created this drink and presented it to her. Well, somebody did some research, and actually she wasn't there at that time, but they named it after her. So, because she was famous, America's darling, big actress. She also was one of the founders of United Artists, which is, major film production company, UA. We see that in front of our movies. And she was one of the founders of the Screen Actors Guild. So she was kind of a big thing. And the cool thing about Prohibition, I mean, really, there's nothing cool about Prohibition. Well, some classic cocktails came out of it. But before Prohibition, bars were like for guys, right? Women didn't go and drink cocktails in bars. They just didn't. But Prohibition, in speakeasies and other places, that, there were drinks made for women. And it's possible that this is why things like citrus and fruits kind of went into drinks to sweeten them up for the taste of a woman. The real reason is because a lot of the alcohol was handmade and it tasted like crap, and they were just trying to cover it up. So anyways, look, this drink was created in Havana, famous at La Floridita, or the Florida as we call it, which is a bar in Havana. We talked about it before with Ernest Hemingway. He used to like to go there. Anyway, so this is probably where it was created, in Havana, and I'm gonna make it today. It's a classic Prohibition cocktail. So on January 16th, we end the 100-year anniversary of Prohibition, and it becomes 101 years. So let's celebrate that doesn't exist anymore, because, what will we do without alcohol? I mean, can you imagine like COVID without alcohol? All right, sorry, I sound a little desperate. All right, so basically, 4 ingredients. I'm going to put in a little fifth. This is shaken and served up in either like a martini glass or a coupe glass. And the main spirit is rum. I'm going to use Bacardi because Bacardi was quite the Cuban thing. I'm not a rum connoisseur. I don't really know a lot about rums. I drink, and I don't dislike rum. It's just, you know, I've never really learned a lot about it. And I know this isn't like top of the line rum, but you want to use a light white rum. You don't want to use a dark rum, although some recipes call for it. You can use a dark rum if you want, or a spiced rum. Hey, basically, the original recipe is a light rum, and it was probably Bacardi. It takes a teeny bit of, and this was added later, the Luxardo or Maraschino liqueur. You don't have to use Luxardo, but this is the most famous Maraschino liqueur. A teeny bit of grenadine because it is a famously pink cocktail. And here's the kind of difficult part. This is pineapple juice. And, you know, there's different recipes, but the one thing everybody agrees on is that it should be freshly squeezed, freshly pressed, I should say, pineapple juice. Quite frankly, and that's what this is, it's kind of a pain in the butt. I gotta be honest with you, I don't have any, I mean, I just tell you, you have to have fresh lemon juice, fresh lime juice, you know, fresh orange. Freshly pressed pineapple, it's a pain. But here it is, it takes 1.5 ounces of it. So, you know, what I do is I buy the pre-cut up pineapple because, you know, I'm just not gonna buy a pineapple and I just can't be bothered, right? So, and then, you know, pineapple juice is basically, you know, you can put it in a blender, you put a little water in. You can put sugar in. I don't put sugar in my pineapple juice. Sometimes if it's riper, you really don't need to. Sometimes you feel like you might need to. It's up to you with that. But this is just a little teeny bit of water and fresh pineapple juice. It is lovely and tropical. It's very Cuban. Memories of Cuba. Not like I've ever been. How could I have memories? Let's make the drink. The other thing I'm going to put it in, because it's garnished with a Luxardo cherry, and I still have Traverse City whiskey cherries. I'm going to put a teeny bit of this really thick syrupy juice in the bottom. Just because, you know, some people say muddle some maraschino cherries in the bottom, but the maraschino cherries we're used to are kind of, you know, they're dyed and they're, you know, that kind of color. That's weird. And this stuff is outstanding. All right, so let's get to the drink. Quit talking, Jude. Blah, blah, blah. So this is going to have 2 ounces. And again, you'll see different measurements. Originally, it was more pineapple juice than rum. But that was how it was created originally. But obviously, you know, who's going to do that? So now we're going to have more rum than pineapple juice. So we're going to do 2 ounces of rum. And then we're going to do 1.5 ounces of fresh pineapple juice. You know what? If you go in and buy some really nice pineapple juice in the store, I'm not going to be at your home saying, hey, I see you, you know, but everybody says should be freshly pressed. It is a pain. Okay, so I strained this too. You're going to want to strain it when you make it, although something just went in it that didn't get out of there. Oh, that's okay. I'll double strain the drink. So there's the pineapple juice, the rum, a little bit of that, you know, Traverse City whiskey cherry syrup, which is not called for in the recipe, though I saw somebody do it. Now, with the grenadine, I didn't make, last time I used grenadine, I made it out of pomegranate juice and sugar. This is literally for the color. You're going to use like a little teeny bar spoon, just like a, you know, not even like 1/4 ounce, maybe 1/4 ounce if we're just like, you know, counting, you know, if we're going to measure it, but it's more for the color than anything else. So, you know, I didn't go and make my pomegranate grenadine thing. And then the Luxardo, even less. This is a powerful little alcohol, and you just want a teeny taste. So I'm going to do, again, a little bar spoon. I'm going to say 1/8 ounce, right? So this one's even, I think this even has a, oops, okay, maybe more than 1/8 ounce. You have to be careful. It has a little, what do you call it, like a little shaker, but it just came out like crazy. Anyway, so there you go. That's what goes in it. And then we're just going to fill it up with ice and shake it till the cows come home. So here's my pre-chilled coupe. Put some ice in the old tin. I don't know if you can hear Winston next door. Winston is the dog across the hall. Max is pretty upset. Winston is, he's got what I would call separation anxiety. And when his people leave, they turn on the radio or the TV really loud. That doesn't matter. He barks until they come home. And Max feels kind of bad, and so do I, but there's nothing we can do. He just barks and barks and barks. He's been barking now for about an hour and a half. Poor Winston. So we're going to drown out his barking with shaking. We're going to shake till the cows come home. The Mary Pickford. Okay, I gave that a good shake because of the little syrup I put in the bottom. The stuff out of the Luxardo cherries and the Traverse City whiskey cherries is a real thick syrup. And I probably put less than, you know, like maybe a half a teaspoon in there just because it's so rich and good, and, you know, why not? So we're going to double strain this. I'll take my Hawthorne strainer and this other fine little strainer because, like I said, some pineapple pulp got into the pineapple, and we don't want that in our drink. And you'll see that this is a beautiful pinkish color. I'm sure Mary Pickford would approve, and probably Douglas Fairbanks too. America's sweetheart, that's what they called her. She didn't like Cuba, famously, because she had this curly hair, and she said that the humidity just kind of wreaked havoc on her curls. I found that humidity makes my hair curlier. Just saying, who really cares, right? So here's our 2 cherries. Let's get that there. And I'm using my cool little pick that was given me by Bishop John. I'm using the ones that's got a little shaker on the end. Thank you. Okay, so let's see if we can keep that on there. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Mary Pickford's cocktail. So Laura, thank you. Here's to you. Here's to Mary Pickford. You know, the silent film star. I don't know that I've ever seen her in anything. I've seen her, you know, she's famous, but I might have to go check out, you know, one of her films. So, salute, folks. Okay, we're just gonna put the cherries in there. Okay, wow. Wow. Okay, what can I say about this? Yeah, I can see that this would have been a really overpoweringly sweet pineapple-y drink. The original way it was made, 2 parts pineapple and 1 part rum. So it was cool that this was adjusted because, well, I love pineapple juice, but you know, the rum is much more forward. It's interesting, it's good, it's beautiful. Let me take one more sip. I do like it. Okay, so what I would suggest for this, if you're doing your freshly pressed pineapple, if the pineapple isn't super ripe, okay, and mine was okay, but if it's not super ripe, meaning super sweet, put a little sugar in it, because what happens is if you don't, the pineapple juice is a little bit bitter. It's a little bit bitter, and not in the nice, like, you know, Amato bitter, you know, it comes out a little bit bitter. But that being said, this is a sterling drink. I like it. I like it a lot. It's classic. Look at it. It's a beautiful drink. I wouldn't mind wandering around in that with, you know, with this color, cherry, you know, kind of as my garnish. It's really good. And if you like rum and you like that whole sort of tropical thinking, you know, Caribbean, Cuban thing, this is the drink for you. So thanks again for sending it to me. I really enjoyed reading about it. And you guys, I'm off to Florida just for another couple of days to my island, you know, with my surname, just because I need to see sun. So we'll catch you next time on Boozing with Jude. Thanks again for joining me. Have a good one. Happy Prohibition. No more Prohibition. We are celebrating. Bye.